Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another review of Tyler Perry's The Oval. Now, it's very early. It's like 6:08 in the morning. I haven't started getting ready for the day, so I apologize. I look kind of a mess. To my old clothes that I sleep in, my pajamas, so I very messy, but I apologize for that. I was just very anxious to get on and do this review. Because last night's episode, it was a mess, and there's just one particular part that was just had me like, what the? Okay, let's start out from the beginning. So Alan, he's seen Kyle and Donald kissing. So of course, Kyle is going to start interrogating him about that. What did you see? What did you see? Um, why? And he's like, Alan's like, well, I didn't see anything. And Carl is trying to figure out why Alan seems so, rattled and nervous. And Alan's like, oh, well, I'm hot. And I'm like, why did you say that, Alan? Because that's the wrong thing to say around Kyle. And he's like, and Kyle's like, what, sexually hot? And Alan's like, no, like as in the air, like the AC needs to be turned up. And Kyle's asking all these questions like, well, who do you talk to outside of here? And I don't know. Alan seems like Alan's in trouble. Um, I thought Alan might find a way to use this to his advantage, but it seems like he's in trouble. But he may still find a way to use this to his advantage. I'm not sure what Alan is going to do, but or what's going to happen to him, but it'll be interesting to see. So, Sam tells Priscilla that he wants to take this job as Victoria's lead, like, oh, it'll be less work and more money, and we need the money, because of the debt with from your mother's passing. And Priscilla's like, oh, so you're blaming my mother now. And so Priscilla's like, you know what? Are you that angry with me over everything? And she thinks that he's blaming her for the for her for the debt left by her mother dying. And Sam and Priscilla, they are in a terrible place right now. And I'm not sure exactly what Sam is doing. Um, if he is trying to punish Priscilla or what, if he's angry at her over not taking care of his needs, but he knows that Victoria behaves very inappropriately, and that Priscilla has a perfect reason for not wanting him to work around Victoria, but yet he's going to do it anyway. Um, we'll see what happens with that. So Jean's boyfriend, he finds her house ransacked. I think that was her boyfriend. Anyway, so he calls Priscilla and he says, well, her house is just tore up. And Priscilla says, okay, well, get out of there. And I knew that this is the avenue that the White House was going to take. Oh, make it look like something happened to Jean outside the White House and all of that. But of course, there are logs that say, that Jean never left the White House. She never clocked out. And then there is a video where she went up the stairs into the residence and then did not come out. So there's that, which of course Kyle can get rid of all of that, but I don't know what's gonna happen with that. Um, so here, okay, so over at the pharmacy, Sharon asked the new guy, and I don't know his name. I I didn't want to look it up right now. So she's asking him about the location of the cult and all that, and he says, "Well, I'm not really sure. I just know that they would come in and buy stuff, and the women would buy stuff. They would try to recruit." And then he said he didn't want to say too much because he didn't want to get into rumors, talking about rumors about the cult and all that. So Crazy Barry shows up at the pharmacy, and he's just pacing around outside, knocks on the window and all that. And so, of course, when Sharon goes out there, he starts asking her questions about the her pregnancy. And he's got to be combative. He's like, "Well, whose baby is it?" And she pushes him, and she's like, "Who do you think it is?" And he's making all these, he's just being very threatening once again. And like, she says, "You already drove through this place and I'm about to drive through it again." And I said I knew when he went out of there last week that he was fixing to start some trouble. So finally, Nancy pulls up and she's trying to talk some sense to him. She says, "I told you I need your help at the funeral home." And he's not listening. He's going off. And of course, Kareem, he sees what's going on outside. The new guy tells him, "Well, this guy, he showed up, and, Sharon went out there to talk to him." And it starts to escalate once Kareem gets out of there, but finally Barry leaves. Nancy was able to, get, intervene and be like, "You need to go. You need to go." And so Barry leaves, and Sharon is saying to Nancy, "I don't need to take this. Why is he like this? Um, things are not going to get better until I leave him." And I'm like, that would be the best idea. Sharon does not need to be around Kareem or Barry because they are both unstable. They they are problematic in different ways. I mean, Barry goes off at the drop of a hat, and then Kareem is just very, very weird and creepy, and possessive, because he's telling her, "Well, I'll raise this baby as my own if you want me to." And she said, "See, that's that corny mess that I'm talking about." And she just was not for that, because he was telling her, "Oh, you can move in with me." And he was wishing that the baby was his and all that. It's a mess. So let's talk about the White House. So Donald brings a doctor in, a psychiatrist. Psychiatrist. Somebody who has worked with other people with problems. Other prominent families, children that have problems. And so he brings her in, and immediately Hunter is like flirting and all that, because the doctor is like, attractive. And I don't know why, and well, Donald says why he brought in someone attractive later, and I'm like, why would you bring in someone who look like that? Because that's just like, because he knows how Hunter is. And Hunter is, he's asking who else she has worked with, and because she says, "Well, I've worked with other prominent kids," and she's like, "What? But I can't disclose any names. I can't say." And all the while, Hunter is just like looking like really lecherous and all that, and I'm like, you know what, Hunter, you really need to stop. Of course, he's not gonna stop because that's all he thinks about. But so Victoria, she wanted to go in with the doctor to see Jason, but the doctors wanted to go in alone. And she wanted to, Victoria was going to say, like, well, do you know about him? And the doctor's like, well, he's not dangerous, is he? And Donald didn't want Victoria to say anything. And I'm like, that's just wrong to send that doctor in there. And not knowing how deadly Jason is, how sick he is. And so she goes in there, and Victoria's like, that little MFer is gonna run her crazy. So Dr. Meadows, she goes into see Jason. She's like, okay, well, I'm ready to listen. And he's like, doing the woe is me act. Well, I am. They wouldn't pay you. This must be some taxpayer trick. They wouldn't pay you to help me. And she's like, is that what you really think? And then he goes on, oh well, they'll do anything as long as it's not good. And he's trying to play the victim. I'm like, come on, Jason. We know you're no better than your parents. In fact, you're worse because you're so messed up. Now, Victoria, she's nervous after the doctor has been in there with Jason for quite a while. And she okay, so Donald ends up asking her if she enjoys the chaos and drama around her. And wait, I want to make sure. Okay, yeah, I'm on the right track. He asks her if she enjoys the chaos and drama around her, and she's like, she's not really trying to answer his questions. And he admits that he brought in help that would be appealing. And I'm like, so you sent that doctor in there knowing, you know, Jason just needs to be locked up in a maximum security hospital or prison for the clinically and criminally insane. And Victoria asks Donald, "How's your beard?" And he's like, "Ma'am, I shaved." And I'm like, "Come on, Donald, stop playing dumb." And he's just pretending like he doesn't know what she's talking about. And she she gets around to talking about Sam, and she says, "Sam, I want him." And at first, Donald doesn't really know what she's, and then he's like, "Oh, you want him?" And he's like, "I can make that happen." And I'm like, "So, Donald, you're just going to try to serve up Sam on a platter to Victoria?" I'm like, no ethics at all. Okay. So, Victoria says, well, you better hope Dr. Meadows gets out of there alive. So, the doctor and Jason are talking. And at first I didn't notice what he was doing, but he had this pillow, and he's like, uh, and I don't, so he, and and then he just throws the pillow aside and is just doing it in front of the doctor. And she's like, well, I'm gonna have to leave if you don't stop. Oh my god, I can't stop. I love it. Please don't leave me. So he I'll politely say that he climaxes, and then he flicks it at the doctor. And this was the scene, and I've seen a lot of crazy things on shows, particularly the Tyler Perry ones, but this scene had me frozen. Like, I was like, what? was this scene really in here? I couldn't believe that a scene like that was in here, and I'm like, that is just disgusting. Um, and so she's like, and it gets on her, and the dog, and she's like, she's trying to collect herself, but she gets out of there. And so she so we get a scene with crazy Kyle, and he wants to go to Donald's house because something is off, and really he just wants to get over there so he can get rid of Lily because he's jealous of her. But anyway, Dr. Meadows, she does ask if there's a bathroom because of course she's going to have to try to clean herself up as best she can. Really she needs a shower, but at that point she just has to try to wipe off and, collect herself until she can get to a shower. And so she says, well, she says the whole family needs counseling because Jason had talked about, how he didn't know where his sister was and all of that. He was playing the victim. And Donald says, well, that I guess he's like, I'll try to make it happen, but he's like, you don't know this family, they're not gonna go for that. So in the kitchen, Richard is looking over dates when he was in Iraq, and then Sam is telling him what is this about you and Frida, and he's like, I'm taking her on the date. And Sam's like, I hope you know what you're doing. And I've said it before, but I think that Sam was Picky or Leon's father. I just think that's what it was. And that's going to set off a whole other set of drama with Priscilla and Sam and Nancy and Richard. So over at Donald's house, Lily is taking pictures of documents. And of course, here comes crazy Kyle, and he's saying all this stuff, and she's like, okay, you gotta go. I'm calling the police. So or the security, I'm calling security. And she picks up the landline or the house phone, and she can't get anything. She picks up her cell phone to call. She can't get anything, and he's like, "That's the power of the government." And so he starts putting on these gloves and all that. But Lily really needed to be careful about what she was doing, how she was doing it. She just returned home and she's already going through documents and picking up stuff, and I'm like, and she could have had a weapon because if she had a gun, she could have easily taken Kyle out and just say, oh, well, he was intruding in my house. And that would be it for Kyle. And Kyle is all right. Like, you can't love him the way I do. And I'm like, Kyle, shut up. And Donald doesn't even love him. He's just using him. But anyway, I don't want to go on too long. But that was the Oval for this week. Tell me what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you the next time. Bye.